Welcome to South Bay Guitar Show, the show that's all about guitars and the people that play them. And for this episode, a man who needs no introduction, Mr. Kirk Fletcher. Welcome.
Great to be here. Thanks for
coming
having
in.
me.
Glad you could make it. Yeah, for a long time we've been wanting to see you come in here. Now, obviously, you're well known in these days, and why don't you give us a little sample for anybody that may have not heard what you can do?
Well,
throw a couple of licks at it. Yeah, that's what happens when you practice. So just to begin with, Kurt, why don't we just talk a little bit about your background briefly? What got you into guitar? I know you started really young.
Yeah, pretty young.
And you were local here as well.
Yep, absolutely.
What sparked it? What got you going?
My older brother, Walter Fletcher, is what got me going, you know, with all the guitar magazines, all the guitars, all of the sounds, all of the overdrive pedals. It's all his fault. So I owe so much to him, you know. I was so lucky in that regard, you know, to have that, and also to come up in the 80s. You know, people say, oh, yeah, the 60s were this and the 70s. Well, I talk about my time, and the guitar in the 80s was, I thought, in pretty good hands, you know, because you had videotapes. You had, you know, more available, but it wasn't too far like it is now, maybe.
Well, we've talked with other guests when you were learning. In my day, it was needle on, needle off. But when the videotapes came in, that did help because you could see where.
Well, you know, I done. I'm so fortunate because I done that too. I definitely had records and definitely slowed it down and had cassettes and had magazines and videotapes, and I just
all
tried to
added
be a
up.
sponge. Yeah, tried to be a sponge.
So how old were you when you got your first guitar?
Oh, I think I was probably about 8, 9 years old.
That's a real young age.
Yeah, it's funny because I have a daughter and she's 20, and it's like, wow, when I was that age,
I was doing this.
I was doing this, like, you know, slowing down, like trial where bridges size and stuff. You know.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so those are some of the influences you just mentioned. Who was it that really that you studied initially? Was there a couple of guitar players? That really
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there was so many before him though, because there was, you know, in the church, you know, there's so many like gospel quartet groups, and that's like kind of similar to like a doo-wop group or a blues group.
True.
You know, so there's a lot of guitar and a lot of bluesy guitar.
So you're learning a lot of phrasing and chord changes, which are similar.
Even with vocal phrasing, you know, you would hear that and you just hear these melodies over and over again, you know. So that's as much of an influence as anybody, as well as my older brother, who was a fantastic guitar player. And, you know, MTV. I mean, it was music videos, but it was also like Dire Straits and every guitar player under the moon, you know.
Yeah. So when did you get your first sort of group together and start performing?
Well, I played in church from like maybe 9 till my 20s, basically. So during this time, my brother and people from the church would, you know, musicians, you know how musicians are. They have little bands and little top 40 and playing in hotel bars and stuff, you know, 5 sets a night or whatever. So I really started that, as well as gospel groups that would travel around and stuff. And also, you know, just high school and that whole thing. So it was just always, you know.
And this was all in SoCal mostly?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All in SoCal.
So when you came here to where we film in Lawndale, tell us a little bit about that connection, because we have a mutual friend.
The city of Lawndale?
Particular business here in Lawndale.
Oh yeah, Music Works. I mean, my home away from home. I graduated high school, and I basically came to Music Works every day, 7 days a week. I would come and just hang out because that's where it was going on. That's where people like Robin Ford was getting stuff worked on. All the guys from like Dokken and Guns N' Roses and all these people, that's where it was. I didn't really think about it like these stars hang out here. I just love the guitar, you know.
So what year do you think all that started for?
Oh, that started in 94.
94. So Jim took you under his wing, and.
But I had started. I had came to Music Works before that with my brother. He drove me when I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
So I've known Jim for
Was
a
that
long
back
time.
when it was on the south side of the street?
I caught the
back?
very tail end of
Okay.
that. But
Yeah.
by the time I graduated, it was already moved to the new location
Okay.
now on Artesia.
Right.
4711 Artesia Boulevard.
He'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now, if we get into a little bit of what you're playing right now, you brought in a Strat. We're going to talk about that and some of the effects that you're running. So go ahead and tell us about this guitar that you brought in.
Well, this guitar has had a very, very, very long history. Because this is one of the first things, because Jim, like he's done with many other young guys, you work at the store, and he'll like do something for you, like build a guitar for you or refinish something or whatever, if you work it off, And this is one of the guitars, this body on the guitar is one of those guitars. He made this body years ago and had it up on the shelf. I wanted it because I wanted a Strat. Well, I had a Strat, but I wanted another Strat. Right. And he refinished it and I sanded it and everything, but I didn't want sunburst. I wanted white because of Jimmy Vaughn and Hendrix at the time, And Chris Fleming, another South Bay guy who was working at the Fitner Custom Shop and everything. He refinished it, and I sold it for a while, and I got it back like maybe a year ago. So it's but this is the guitar that I played, right after high school in like gospel bands, funk, whatever. It was done. A lot of it was done on this body.
It's got the special mojo.
Yeah, and it sounds great still.
I know somewhere out there I have an old high school Strat.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever it became of, but I'd love to get back too.
Yeah.
So here we have rosewood neck. And,
because this guitar has had maple necks on it.
Okay.
It's had rosewood necks. So I really know how this body sounds, and it just works with either. I just happen to have this lying around, threw it on there, and here we are.
Now, did Jim do any special thing on wiring or?
No, other than disconnecting this pickup, the middle pickup, and wiring this tone control to this. And that's a lot of people do that.
So you're set for treble, and the rhythm, it's dead completely? Or
Yeah, this pickup has no tone on it.
Okay.
And then this one has this tone control. And really, I got that, I guess, from Eric Johnson, I guess, was the first person I heard about that. It's such a simple thing, but I never thought about it. And then I guess Jimmy Vaughn done it too. And you can really, with the fuzz, you can really kind of get kind of a Clapton thing, if you roll it back, and dial in the sweet spot, or, whatever. I mean, you can just do whatever you want.
Something we didn't add that, going back to your history a little bit, when you mentioned Jimmy Vaughn, you were working for Mr. Kim Wilson there for a while.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. We just saw Kim
cool.
talking to Doug McLeod a couple days ago.
Well, I mean...
How'd you get that gig out of it?
I got that gig. Actually, Al Blake, this great singer harmonica player who's in the Hollywood Fats band, I was kind of mentored by him, in the way I would go to his house, he'd make dinner, play me all kinds of blues records, just nonstop old blues records, because I already knew, like B.B. King, Bobby Bland, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Magic Sam. I knew all that stuff, but he was the guy that really turned me on to like Charlie Patton, Petey Wheatstraw, and
digging into
people,
the deeper stuff.
people like that, Walter Davis, and Jesse Thomas, and all of these really obscure people, So I kind of, through him, he told Kim Wilson about me. So I originally joined Kim Wilson's solo blues project that's really traditional blues first. And then the slot opened up in the T-Birds and he asked me to join.
How long did you play with the Thunderbirds?
I played with the Thunderbirds from 2004 to 2007.
Okay. That must have been a great experience.
It was fantastic because it was the first band I had been in, real band that toured.
Big touring
everything.
act.
Yeah. I mean, I had played in Charlie Musselwhite's band before that, which was fantastic. I love Charlie.
Right.
I still stay in contact with Charlie. I love that guy. I love Kim too. I mean, I was really fortunate, and really young too, 22, 23 when I joined Kim in the blues band. So
Yeah, that is young to be on the road.
It was great. So I had to cram a lot of stuff into a couple of years.
Catch up on all Jimmy Vaughn's old licks and approaches to some of those arrangements.
Yeah, I mean, because Jimmy Vaughn is sort of like, that's a whole textbook unto itself.
It is true. I want to add that the first time I saw them, they were playing with Stevie Ray Vaughan, your brother. And Stevie always said that he thought Jimmy was a better guitar player than him. And of course, we always, what are you talking about here? This is the great saying this. And when I saw the show, it was with, it's actually on YouTube. There's a clip of Civic Amphitheater. Carlos Santana.
Oh, yeah. And they sat in at the end of the night.
And Caesar from Los Lobos.
Yeah.
And as I sat there watching this, I said, Jimmy is playing the tastiest licks of the four guitar players. I was absolutely stunned. I knew respect for what he was doing. So
absolutely.
You had some big shoes to fill when you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think I filled his shoes, but I just tried to play the best rhythm I could and, you know, step up to the plate whenever I needed to take a
have
solo.
fun.
Yeah. I shared that with a good friend of mine, Nick Kern, who passed away a few years ago. And we were in the band together, and that was really wonderful to see him. And he inspired me to kind of follow my vision of my own solo thing, seeing him sing and stuff.
What sparked that? What decision you wanted to
Gary Clark Jr., seeing him in Austin, Texas, and Nick Kern, and all of these guys, you know, kind of being their own man. You know, I saw Gary Clark when he was young, and he was doing Jimmy Reed covers, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, you know. I mean, I was like, wow, this kid is awesome, you know?
Well, that's true. There's countless. You can't even count how many great guitar players are really out there. But now you're in this circle with all these people, so you must be having a great time networking with these people and watching them live and jamming with them when you can.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to bring up, of course, is more recent history, the Joe Bonamassa shows that you've done with Joe, which is fantastic.
My friend.
That stuff's all over YouTube. People can just, you know, Google and watch endless shows that you played with Joe.
I mean, Joe is just a friend, a guy I really consider a close friend. You know, and everything else is just icing on the cake, really. I mean, because it's a person I can talk to about advice. It's a person I can ask a bunch of questions to. We can play guitars, you know, have a couple beers.
How long was that experience of, how many shows, or was it more than one tour that you were doing?
Well, the first one was Muddy Wolf, and we done rehearsing for a few, we didn't even rehearse that long. It was just awesome. It didn't even last that long. It was great. And I think we done 2 warm-up shows and then the Red Rocks.
Okay.
Second thing was a tour, because I think he was having so much fun. He's like, okay, we're gonna make this a tour, you know. So we rehearsed maybe a week or so, and we done maybe 3 weeks or something before the Greek performance. And of course, that was like, I was on vacation. I always tease him and say, man, I'm on vacation, man. This is great, you know. Because, I really love to play rhythm guitar. You know, that's a really, and to be able to play rhythm guitar with my friend who's up there, you know, burning the house down is really cool, you know. And he gave me a couple solos, too. I mean, he's nice
I've
guy.
seen. I mean, there's
you know,
good trade-offs there.
Yeah.
Put you in the spotlight. That's good stuff.
It was great. And I owe him a lot because, you know, I get a lot of people coming up to me saying, you know, hey, I saw you with Joe and everything. And that's great. And I think he kind of knew that a little bit, too. It would kind of help his friend
Well, his
out.
climb was quick, too, really. I mean, it was a star kid, like a lot of star kids. But when he came to town here, he was playing little clubs here in Redondo Beach when he first came to town.
Yeah.
And those of us that knew about him would go to check it out. But now, I mean, the PBS specials helped a lot too.
Well, that's the interesting thing about Joe is that, like, while me and my friends, you know, were playing in bands and playing with all these different people, Joe had his mind set on the prize. He had it, you know, he had a direction. He, you know, developed his voice. He developed all that stuff all this time. And we're talking before I got started, he was doing Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah.
So it's been, you know, he's been doing as long as I have, and I've been doing it 30 years. So he's been doing Joe Bonamassa for 30 years, where I done everything else. So it took a little longer than I think we all think, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so he had a plan that he pretty much stuck to.
I think so.
Instead of just come as what comes, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I got you.
Huh. And a lot of talent, you know. I mean,
True. Oh, absolutely.
The guy can play the guitar and sing.
Well, so can you. Now, another thing we have here is a copy of one of your CDs.
Oh, yeah, My Labor of Love.
This is the live one.
Yeah.
In fact, this is what Jim Foote gave me some time ago.
Yeah.
So this is actually Jim's copy, but he
Yeah.
said I could have it. You want to talk a little bit about this?
Well, this is, I was on the road with this Italian artist named Eros Ramazzotti for like a year back in, I don't know, 2013, I think, somewhere. And I got off the road and I was able to, you know, record and have a little extra cash to record a live CD. And I just wanted to do it at the Baked Potato because the Baked Potato is like Larry Carlton, live at the Baked Potato. Mike Landau done a couple live records at the, you know, so all of my heroes played at the Baked Potato. So I, instead of, you know, writing a bunch of songs and doing a solo studio record, I'm like, man, let's just do it live, you know? Because then I would have something to give to like promoters and things like that. Hey, you want to hear the Kirk Fletcher Band? This is what it sounds like. It's live, you know? So I just done it myself. I put it out myself and everything, and it's been a lot of fun, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, you should be.
It's fun.
It's just playing in my car right now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we try and fake a few riffs off here? I'll try to hang on.
Aww.
And we're taping early, so we'll try to wake up here and see what we can do. We talked about maybe throwing just a lick down in G or something.
Yeah, sure.
If I just start it off and take off on it, however you want to. That old Magic Slim riff.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's fun.
One of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. Usually not this early in the morning, but
Oh, I'm up so early now.
that's it. I don't know how you do it, but anyway. I want to try another key, try something a little different.
Sure.
Slow it up a bit. We said maybe A minor, sort of
I think A minor.
BB's little fun thing or something.
Yeah.
I'll just lay down for you. tasty, Kirk. You're the man.
Thank you so much.
You know, something else I was going to ask.
Yeah.
You have the bridge set up for a tremolo, but no arm. You ever really run the arm?
Yeah, I never use the arm.
Don't use it?
I mean, you know, I have friends that do that really well. I'm kind of the person that, like, you know, I see somebody do something, I'm like, that is so cool, and they do it so good. No need for me to do that. Like, I have a friend, Dave Melton, who I think is one of the greatest slide players. You know, another guy from the area too.
Yeah.
And it's like, why bother? Just call him if I need somebody.
Yeah,
because I won't be that good.
I'm that way with guys that tap.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got friends that do that too.
Didn't grow up on it, so okay, Eddie and those after. They play it.
Yeah.
But I did want to get into what you're getting here with your tone.
Sure.
You have a few effects.
Yeah.
We'll zoom in on it in a bit, but what are you starting off on here?
Well, this is the first thing I got from my buddy Shawn Michaels. It's called COT Cot 50.
Okay.
And it's basically sort of like a JTM 45 kind of in a box, but it's really amp-like. And it basically cleans up when you turn down your volume. And I usually keep it on all the time.
Okay.
Because I'm more of a volume rider guy.
Yeah.
I like to turn it down for clean and just play and then turn it up.
Okay.
I mean, even on like gigs, you know, like if I'd done like that Italian pop gig or whatever, I would always have something on.
So this may be feeding a lot of gain, but you're just doing it strictly off the guitar.
Yeah, but it's like a, hope it ain't too loud. It's not that much,
crunch.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I will turn it up a little live, you know, turn it over a little bit and give me a little more. But basically that's it. And I guess Fuzz Face kind of does that too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you turn it down and it cleans up. Oh yeah. So that's basically that. I love it. I've played it for years and years, you know. Right. And then this Vemaram is another beautiful pedal. And I started off looking for a pedal that worked good with my Les Paul. I have a fantastic Les Paul I really love. And I needed something to kind of cut the bass a little because, you know, Les Paul's got plenty of low end and all that good stuff. So I needed something to kind of center it a little bit. So that's where I started. And then it just kind of turned into using it on everything because it works on everything, every amp. I haven't ran into an amp yet that it doesn't really work on. So it's basically another boost. And sometimes I'll just use either or. Right. Because I don't really use a lot of gain. I'll try and make the amp.
Yeah, you got a very clean, bright sound a lot of the time.
Like
well,
make the amp work a little bit.
On that live CD, all of a sudden I can tell when the crunch is coming on, so maybe that's been crunched up.
But you know, on the live CD, I'm using a variation on this pedal. Like this pedal, two of them in one, sort of. The same circuitry, two. So you get a little, you can turn on the second stage and get a little more, you know. Right. And that's basically what I used on that, I think. And then this is, just a little variation on the same basic concept. I keep it on all the time and just kind of dial in bass or treble for whatever I need. And then, you know, my tuner.
I know I'm still throwing the clip on, but some guys, we go back and forth.
Yeah, I do too.
On the floor or on the guitar.
Because sometimes it's more convenient to just, you know, use the clip on too.
It depends. It depends a lot of times on the lighting where you're playing live. Can I see it or not? You know, what I found. But,
and I'm out here from Switzerland. I live in Switzerland now. So, you know, I have a pedal board at home and I have, you know, TC flashback delays and, you know, old wah-wahs.
A lot more toys.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, to me, I feel like I can get my job done with something to give me just something where I can hang on to the notes. I like it pretty clean, but hang on to the notes and get the amp working. Right. You know, because my whole concept is like another California guy, Larry Carlton, you know, it's just that real sweet singing kind of thing. Right. And Robin Ford and Stevie Ray Vaughan to a certain degree too. Like a lot of those kind of just more cleaner kind of players.
but I know what you mean. A little extra sustain rather than just getting it out of the fingers. It helps. It helps.
But there's also
and the tone is nice too. Right.
But I'm also a fan of, you know, the Marshall sound too. I haven't really played a lot of Marshalls, but I'm a fan of that sound, you know, in the hands of like Hendrix or Mike Landau or different players like that. You know, I like that tone.
It doesn't have to be a heavy metal sound. It can still
but it's got that nice growl on it.
Exactly.
You know.
speaking of Larry, you know, I talked to him. He's supposed to do the show at some
That would
point.
be ruling.
Well, local boy, you know,
Yeah,
Lomita,
right?
and
Lomita.
his mom
Right
lives
down
next
the-
door to a friend of mine, so he keeps
Oh,
promising.
cool.
So
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Elsie?
Speaking of the amps, though, you got an old classic
Oh,
Fender
I
back
got
there, and I
this,
used to have one of those, so it was great to see you come in with that.
Fender Deluxe Reverb, 1965.
Ooh.
And I wanted that amp because they're kind of out of control price-wise. But, you know, because everybody, I think, is gravitating towards smaller amps now. So there's more of a demand.
True. Well, I beat mine up. I have to run that thing just on full all the time to keep up with the drums, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just the one.
I have a super reverb that I use that Jim put together for me from different various parts. And that's my main amp. Has been ever since, you know, years ago, 20, 30 years. So, yeah, but this is like the small version of that kind of.
Right.
And
This is travel around with when you're in town or
and it's
elsewhere.
when I'm lazy. Too.
I saw a video clip just the other night of you, I think it was Tarzana.
Oh, yeah.
Doing some jams. Was that the amp?
No, I think I used just the house super reverb.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah. Well, Kurt, thanks again for coming in.
Thank you
Real
so much
pleasure.
for having me.
You're just an awesome player.
Thank
and
you.
Real honor to be able to jam with him. Really
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much. Likewise.
Yeah, and a local. That's what's great.
Local guy for sure.
Yeah. Common thread there. That's why
absolutely.
It's a South Bay Guitar Show. There's a lot of history here, and so it's great to get somebody that's doing what you're doing coming out of this area. Yeah. So you want to just try something tasty to take us out on this?
Slow blues.
Slow blues in B or something? You know?